Hello, everyone. Welcome to Not Easily Broken Ministry. I am Prophetess Angie Allen. Please follow, share, and subscribe. As I was preparing for something else, I began to hear the Lord talk about harvest. And with this, what he's saying about harvest is that the things in which you have planted is now for to manifest itself. It is ready to be plucked. It is ready to be pulled out of the ground and laid before you. Know that your waiting is not in vain. There were some things that needed to be added to your character so that you can continue to fulfill your purpose. There are more to you than you can ever imagine. So in your waiting is to establish you for where you're about to go. In the midst of all of this, as God was telling me about how our waiting is not in vain, I began to ask him, so why did we have to wait for so long? Because we have so many people who have been waiting for over 10 years, 20 years and more. And God began to speak to me. He said, the reason being is because I don't want my people to continue to fall in disobedience, because he still got to honor his word when we fall into disobedience. He said he had to build our character to where we get to a point and we know how to say no. When we get to a point of saying no, that means when God bless us, we got to be able to know who is it and what we are to invest our time into. If God is working with other people and he's trying to teach them some things, and we fall into disobedience by taking what he has blessed us with to give it to those people, then what happened is they don't learn anything. And then we wind up right back in the place that we started from. So the wait was to build our character, to understand and know who we are, to understand when God bless us, it's not just for us to run around and just start throwing it out to different people, but we have to consult with God before we release. We have to consult with God how much and who we are to release this to. Some of us will get and we just run like right now. And I know I'm speaking to someone. You already got your mind made up. If you was to get blessed, what you going to do with it? Guess what? Your heart is set on it. So when that time come, if God ain't told you to release it, now you fall into disobedience. Let me go back to this characteristic part. The reason for things being held up is because there are still more things that we have to learn about ourselves, who and whose we are in Jesus Christ. Not only that, is to recognize every scheme and tactic that has been placed out there. Believe it or not, people don't understand how the spirit realm is real, how people are being used by the enemy in so many form and fashion. Even witches are out there doing crazy things. So if you're not aware of what's going on outside of the existence of who you are today, then you will begin to fall for anything. So everything that God bless you with will turn around and go into the hands of everyone else. And then you will find yourself wanting to get mad at God, but it's just the fact that you haven't allowed yourself to continue to grow, letting your character continue to be developed. So once again, the reason for the delay is because your character still needed to be formed. Your character still needed to be worked on. So then that way, whatever it is that God has for you, you will be for sure that what he's given you, it is made for a purpose. It was given to you on purpose. It was set for a divine reason. Now, let me talk about some of the delays. Some of these delays that we have had is because we were tied to some people that wasn't living the lifestyle that God desired for them to live. Not only that, the delay was because people who we chose not to let go, that was not ready for where God was taking us, cause us to be held up on some things that God wanted to release. Sometimes the connection that you are connected to will cause that delay in your life because of their disobedience. God still got to honor his word. And so because God loves us so much that he wants to give us an opportunity to get things right, so we won't fall or continually to fall in that place of disobedience. This is where now it is time for us to examine every connection, examine our characteristic, examine some things so that way we won't allow delays to continue to manifest in our life. But as I said earlier today, a lot of things that you have planted or being released. They're coming forth. The more you continue to untie yourself to some things and completely say, God, here I am. I want what you want from me. Even if it's going to cause some pain, having to let go some people that's around me. Having to leave a certain city to go to another one, another state, whatever the case may be. Because God knows that what he has for you and that's ahead need to be connected to something else that would take what's on the inside of you higher. A lot of these delays wasn't just because of our connection with people as our character are being formed, but also some of these delays has to do with ourselves. Not willing to let go some things, not willing to humble ourselves, being prideful, so many different things. And that's the reason why God have held up some of those things in a place, in a special place, until you were ready to surrender yourself, until you was ready to say, you know what, God, I can't do this by myself. You know what, God, I do need help. Whatever that thing is, you know what you struggle with. When you was ready to surrender that and give it to God, that's when the door began to open up. The little we did, the little bit of the crack that the door opened. The more we did, the more it opened. So that's the reason why he's saying right now that the waiting, while you're waiting, is not in vain, because you're still trying to learn and understand the operation of God, trying to understand the operation of everything spiritually that give you that access. Not only that, God didn't want you to get to a place where you only just want things, putting him in a place of like he's Santa Claus, but to actually form a relationship with him, to where when you don't get certain things that you're asking for, you still love Jesus in spite of. So those areas of your life is what God needed to form to build you up to understand that he's more than just a God that just give out gifts. He's more than that. And he wants you to understand it, because again, some of us were raised and brought up that I can get this if I only do this, but it's deeper than that. And that's the reason for the held up in those areas that you've been asking for. And for you who decided to let go and let Jesus in, to move according to his direction, his will, the door is open for you. This harvest, I'm seeing right now, this harvest in which has been planted, that's coming forth, is a field full of harvest. The grass is so green. That is so much being released, more than you can ever imagine, more than you can ever think of. Ha, yeridi shika yoroso, yeridi siya. Ha, rosoto reshikataya. I can see it. It is filled with so much bright green, and it's filled with so much out there that you will have so much an overflow. Overflow. But this is where you have to be wise in your decision. Don't let others cause you to start all over again, having less than, after God have blessed you with so much. What God has given us and about to release upon us, into our hands, into our presence, into our place, into our business, into our churches, into so many different areas of our life, it is all for a purpose. I want you to pay attention to this. And this is how you want to know when you are close to the release of the Lord. Is that because people will begin to call you, people you haven't even heard from over 6 months, a year, or even 3 months, however. But these are people that you have not had conversation with. Because sometimes they are able to discern what it is that the Lord is about to do in your life before you discern it. So be watchful, be wise in this season, and give God the glory, because I'm telling you, the harvest is plenty. And not everybody is going to be able to celebrate with you on what it is that the Lord is doing in your life. Because why? Some of them have a different agenda in their heart. If they don't have it, they don't want you to have it. And be okay. Be okay to celebrate by yourself. Be okay to celebrate with your small circle. Be okay. As Jesus Christ loves you, I love you too. Be blessed.